Hey there, everyone. Thanks for listening to Limited Engagement. I'm your host for the show, Jared Duran, and this is LE99, which is a conversation I had with Allyson Bills, who's a writer for Yabiel Music and Arts. We'll get to that in just a sec. This last weekend was one of those rare occasions where I braved the wilds of First Friday downtown. It's just too much of a mess for me most of the time. I'll go down there if I'm part of a reading or something, but it's just that crush of bodies and the not being able to find a place to park and all those complaints of the aggravated, anxious introvert. Let's leave it at that. I'm sure I could be called many other names, some of them clinical. But you know, I wanted to go ahead and check out the Indie Film Fest and also stop by Revolver for its closing night. I didn't end up finding anything in Revolver. Again, there's just too many people. I did like shopping in that store when I was going to be downtown there for some reason. But hey, I hear that it's going to live on in the form of an entirely different establishment by the same owner. So you can check out Ed Masley's piece on that, the closing of Revolver Records and the opening of this new place whose name I can't remember right now. But yeah, I was excited to go check out the Indie Film Fest after having talked to Cash Cole, and met up with my buddy Mike Cryer, and went down to Film Bar to check out You Racist Sexist Bigot. And I'm not calling anybody that. That's the name of the film. And I feel like a lot lately, whether it's this podcast or on Hoot and Review or something, I've been talking a lot about social consciousness and my own personal relationship to inclusiveness and all that sort of thing. And I feel that I come down on the side of really we're never going to fix anything on a grand scale until we work on things individually, right? You know, who am I as a socially conscious person? You know, who am I as in my regards to working to be more inclusive, and I say more because as inclusive as I might think I am, or as, you know, liberally minded, whatever label you want to put on it, you know, we can always do better, and there are always just these inherent kind of or learned behaviors. I don't know. You know, nobody's perfect, I guess, is the overarching theme of that, and we can all always strive to be better. And so with that point of view in mind, I went to see this film, You Racist Sexist Bigot, and what I came away from, first of all, it's a great documentary. If you're able to go see it, I recommend it. I think you can get it on iTunes. And it's going to be hitting up some festivals around the country and in colleges around the country. And if you have an opportunity to see it, I suggest you go see it. What I loved about it is its approach of it doesn't try to provide the answers or say this is the way we fix things or anything like that. What it does is it gives a space to allow people the opportunity to tell their stories, their personal stories, people of color, people in the LGBTQ community. I deeply apologize if I don't have all the monikers on that or all the letters for that. But marginalized people who don't typically have a platform like this to talk about the racism and sexism and bigotry that they've personally experienced. And this film gives them that opportunity to have that voice, and for other people to see them and hear them, and to really walk away from that thinking about, how do I contribute to this? How personally am I trying to make things better? How personally am I consciously or unconsciously being, in some ways not inclusive, pushing people away, or not, I think you know what I'm getting at. What I'm saying is that, you can't even have a vague, if you're even paying attention to the world in a eyes half open way, right? If you're listening at all, you can't go a day without hearing about how people are being treated awfully. We're just the human race right now is failing at acting decently to one another, and there's not a systemic way of fixing this, I don't think. But like I said, we can work on ourselves on a personal level and work to be better, and that work together and put something better out there and try to overshadow all of the awfulness. I don't know. Does that make sense? Our sponsor for today is Chris Ayres Creative. That's chrisayrescreative.com, AYERS. For all of your design needs, go to them. You go to chrisayrescreative.com. You can see political campaigns Chris has worked on to develop a visual brand for that. You can basically, this all ties into me. What Chris Ayres does is use his platform, his art, to put something better out there into the world and to support candidates with progressive messages and messages of inclusivity, and the work that he does speaks to his personal politics, and that's the kind of business that we need to be supporting. Those are the kind of artistic endeavors that we need to be supporting. So, chrisayrescreative.com. Check it out. You can see all the work that he's done. In addition to those political campaigns, he's also he used to do work for Right This Minute and CBS 5, and he has a wealth of experience, 2 decades of design experience, and he can do whatever you need visually, website, branding, all of it. So go to chrisayrescreative.com. There's a form email you could fill out if you want to go ahead and let him know as you're sending an inquiry to him that you heard about his website on this show. That would be helpful to support us and keep sponsors for the podcast, and really appreciate that. So once again, that's chrisayrescreative.com, and you can also check out his affinity for Infinite Jest. And he's done some really cool work. He's also worked with Film Bar, which is where I went and saw that documentary. And right, so that's right. Support our sponsor. Now into my guest for this week's show, Allyson Bills is a writer for Yab Yab Music and Arts. She does the Social Savvy column, in which she talks to bands about what they're doing in social media to be, in order to be successful, or what they've seen work, what hasn't worked for them, all that sort of thing, which is of particular interest to me at this point in time because I am terrible at social media. I do my best, but I'm not great at it. And so it was good to get some insight from her, and it was just fun to talk to Allyson. I am friends with and know people who know Allyson, but I've never personally talked to her, and we've interacted on social media. But so it was kind of cool to sit and talk to her for a while, and also I always have to give some props to somebody who, especially if they're an introvert like myself, to sit there and talk to somebody they've never had a conversation with before for an hour. That's it takes some doing, and I want to thank her for talking to me. And you can read her column on yabiumwest.com. Again, that's the Social Savvy column, and you can follow her at Allyson Bills on Twitter, and find her Instagram account and all that sort of thing. She also does something that's a lot of fun called Scooter Litter. That is basically it's an account on Instagram, and it follows the detritus of people ditching those shared ride scooters around the valley. So check that out. And here's my conversation with her, and we'll see you on the other side. But yeah, so do people? I'm curious because I've never done how. I mean, how does it working for Postmates and that sort of thing? I mean, I've used it before, but do they have like a flat fee or something, or do you make everything off of tips, or
you make it just depends on your delivery. Depends on how far you drive. It's like so many cents a mile.
Gotcha.
And how long you're gonna wait, but they cut down the waiting time.
Oh, okay.
But you only get paid after you pick up something. But if you're driving to someplace, you don't get paid.
That's I don't know how the whole thing. I'm one of the many things that I have looked into doing with to try to have some sort of flexibility in scheduling and devote more time to all the Hoot and Waddle stuff is Uber or Lyft or something, and then I don't know.
But I like Postmates because you don't have to talk to people.
Not talking to people is
really
good.
Wonderful. I'm an introvert, and I would not want to talk to people all day. Then you have to play their music. Because then you can't really play your own music that you want to listen to. And
oh yeah, see, no, that's a deal breaker.
Yeah,
I can't do that. I just had a friend of mine. As I'm driving through next month to San Francisco for a book launch that we're doing, and then heading up to AWP in Portland.
Yeah,
and a friend of mine who's in San Francisco asked about whether or not they could ride with me up to Portland. I was like, yeah, if you don't mind me picking the music the entire way, because that's how it goes.
Exactly.
I need to have my music in the car, otherwise it's bad for everybody. It's, it doesn't work super well in a relationship, but because then it's well, why don't we play my music? And then it's because, well, I don't like your music and I'm driving, and I don't know. I'm not great about that. I've tried to get better at it. It's
hard sometimes.
Many failings. But
sometimes it's hard because you want them to what you like sometimes, and sometimes.
Well, and I was talking to, do you know Jeff Cardello?
I don't think I do.
Okay, I was talking to him yesterday, and one of the things that we were talking about was being recovering music snobs, and that's definitely a sort of thing where I for so long have just been super judgy of other people's taste in music.
Yeah.
And if you didn't like what I liked, then you just clearly didn't get it. And it's I think that I've gotten better at that. I'm much more accepting of being tolerant of what other people like, and being, I can be much more relaxed and just be like, yeah, people like what they like. But
yeah, it's hard sometimes.
There was a time
if it's
when
something that's so terrible, you're just really?
Yeah.
But it's I'm sure people think that about us too.
Probably they're wrong, but I mean,
yeah. It's it's like, yeah, I have that problem too. Because I'm just like, you listen to Taylor Swift, and I'm like, I try not to judge, but I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
it's like, you do you, I guess.
That's funny. That was Jeff's example.